This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to answer a few questions, but the main question we'll be talking about is Bitcoin controlled by Tether. This was a paragraph full of questions that someone sent me, so I want to work through it right now. The first question or statement, Bitcoin is a speculative asset that with limited supply will never become a transactional currency. Never. I'm sorry to say to this person, but Bitcoin has already become a transactional currency, and I'm sorry they weren't paying attention because people in every country on earth are already using it every day as payment for goods and services. We talked about Pedro yesterday at Lake Bitcoin in Guatemala accepting Bitcoin for his businesses. Here's Francis in Bitcoin Jungle making fun of people who say you cannot buy food with Bitcoin, showing all the stuff that he bought with Bitcoin. I've referred many times to the BTC map as well, where you can easily find places to spend Bitcoin all over the world and online. And of course, even on my own website, you can pay using Bitcoin for my paid material. So Bitcoin's already being used globally as a transactional currency. It's not being used everywhere. Obviously, we're still very, very early, but it works very, very well as money. The next question or the next statement, the abundance of sats only means that each sat has value proportional to a Bitcoin. The same way a penny is always 1/100th of a dollar. I'm not sure exactly what kind of argument he's making here, but I wanted to point out, use this occasion to point out, there's actually no such thing as a whole Bitcoin. The Bitcoin software refers actually only to sats, to Satoshis, and there's 100 million sats in one Bitcoin. I'm not sure why this is somehow an argument against Bitcoin, but at least he didn't say that dividing a pizza into a million pieces enables you to feed the whole planet with one pizza, which is what people often say when they say that Bitcoin's not scarce because it can be subdivided, which is a very silly thing to say. If you're enjoying this video so far, just pause here to ask you to help to support the channel. Click the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a suggestion for a future video, comment, question. Also share this video with a friend or family member. And now we come to the main critique, which was in this comment. This is what the person wrote in. The problem for Bitcoin is that its limited supply created its sole use as a speculative asset. Stablecoins evolved to back its speculative use, and Tether became the dominant stablecoin. Tether is an unaudited Ponzi scheme that will eventually collapse, as all Ponzi do. Because of the Tether Ponzi, which became the underlying foundation for the entire crypto space, there's no true market value for Bitcoin. Its price is completely manipulated through the creation of unbacked tethers and control of Bitcoin's limited supply. So is Tether a scam? This is something we've talked about a few times before. I would say that Tether is actually instead probably one of the best businesses in the world today. The way it works is investors have given Tether about $112 billion. Tether buys U.S. treasuries with that money, gives the people USDT tokens, and then Tether gets to sit on those treasuries and collect the interest income from it, currently earning 4 to 5% a year or something like that on U.S. treasuries. This is really like shooting fish in a barrel. In the first quarter, just the first quarter of 2024, they reported $4.5 billion worth of profit. If you do the math, 4 or 5% on 112 billion, you can see how much money they're making every year. There is talk that they're not fully backed. I do not believe this. I think they're fully backed. They have such a good business, and there's no reason they wouldn't be fully backed. The problem they have is that the big four auditing firms don't want to audit them. But Tether has now onboarded the US FBI and the Secret Service, and it is just rolling in cash. They've been investing billions of dollars in startups, and they've been buying huge amounts of Bitcoin as well using their cash. But for the sake of argument, let's assume that all this is smoke and mirrors, and that Tether only has been pretending to invest billions of dollars into Bitcoin and startups. This would be something that's very difficult to fake, especially when they refer to a company that they've invested in, and everyone knows what company this is and they can audit it, etc. So it's hard to just pretend to be investing billions of dollars in Bitcoin and startups. But let's pretend it's all smoke and mirrors. Does it really matter if Tether were to blow up? Does it really matter given Tether's tiny size relative to the real money printers? And this is what people forget about. Tether has the very small money printer, if in fact it's a money printer, and I don't believe it is. But the real money printer that pumps Bitcoin is, of course, the fiat money printers like the Feds. So for example, Tether, as we said, has a market cap currently of about $112 billion. By contrast, the Fed's balance sheet is approximately $7.2 trillion. The US money supply is about $21 trillion. So these pale, 112 billion pales in comparison to these much larger numbers. And this is where the real money printers lie. These sort of tethered truthers, you'll see them on Twitter. They've been around for years and years, and they really refuse to accept reality. They're a little bit like that person you see jogging alone outside, completely by themselves in 2024, and wearing a blue surgical mask for some strange reason. These people completely out of touch with reality. Now I want to turn to his final critique. Bitcoin has use and value as a means to transfer and hold wealth. And this was strange because at the beginning of his paragraph, he'd already said that it can never be used for transactions. So he's contradicting himself. But Bitcoin has use and value as a means to transfer and hold wealth. But currently there's no true market to determine what that value really is. This is some of the biggest nonsense I've ever heard. Bitcoin is the most free market in the world. It's global. It trades 24/7, 365 days of the year. Unlike any other market, it's highly, highly liquid. It's over $1 trillion market cap, and it trades on centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges all over the world. So when someone says there's no true market to determine what that value really is, I would suggest to them that they just check the price of Bitcoin on one of these exchanges here, and there are many, many dozens of exchanges and decentralized exchanges all around the world and peer-to-peer exchanges that trade Bitcoin. So it's a pretty silly thing to say that there's no true market to determine what the value of Bitcoin really is. This is one of the silliest things I've ever heard. I get it. Some people really, really don't want to have to deal with the cognitive dissonance that comes with finally facing how fraudulent the current fiat financial system is and how dumb they've personally been to have avoided buying Bitcoin for so many years. The people who supposedly study Bitcoin and then spend a lot of time online being bearish about it or emailing their friends like this person did, and they're obsessed with Bitcoin, but they're obsessed in a very bad way. They don't understand it at a deep level, and they're more obsessed because they feel like they've missed out, and in many ways they have missed out. These kind of people prefer to come up with a million poor excuses why they will never buy Bitcoin. So what do they end up doing? What do they end up using instead of Bitcoin? This is the problem. They usually just end up using fiat money instead, usually just US dollars. And so it sounds like something like this: I hate Bitcoin, which is why I use the US dollar network instead with its single node controlled by ex-lawyers and investment bankers. I don't believe in using money that has a fixed maximum supply because I prefer currencies that bankers can print up for free in unlimited quantities while I actually have to go to work and earn those dollars, thus constantly eroding the purchasing power of my hard-earned savings. And so this is what the person should be focusing on, the real ponzi, which is the US dollar, which that's what they're probably hodling and using on a daily basis. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.